agree that such activity is indeed a hazard, and we have been very stern in our warnings that they will not like the bite of a beak if they persist in this abominable practice. Kindest regards, the Iddesleigh School for Exceptional Girls. Chapter 1. March 1858, in the capital city of St. Edis, Wesloria. They said that Princess Amelia fell in love with a footman. "Another one?" her sister asked with dismay. Amelia hadn't actually fallen in love with him, but even if she had, she could hardly be blamed, given how bitterly cold and long the Weslorian winter had been. What was she to do, stuck inside Rohallan Palace with nothing to do on days that saw only a few hours of sun? While winds had howled and rain had poured, Amelia had passed days in front of large blazing hearths, as it was too cold to venture very far from them. And on those days, when she couldn't read another word, or eat another bite, or engage in another dreadfully dull conversation, she looked for games to play. But who was there to join her but a lady-in-waiting and a footman or two? Anyway, did it really matter now? The last footman had been sent off to Astasia Castle, and spring was upon them, and everything was glittery and green and filled with bright sunshine. But her sister, Justine, the Queen of Wesloria, said, "I can't look at you right now," and had turned her head. "Kissing footman," she repeated, as if mystified by it, as if she and Amelia hadn't spent a good portion of their teenaged years fantasizing about that very thing. When her lady-in-waiting, Lordonna, whispered to her that the footman had confessed to the head butler, who had in turn confessed to the prince consort, Amelia had expected there to be some "how could yous" and "you shouldn't haves" and "promise me, Amelias," and was fully prepared to promise. She clung to the hope that when she had apologized enough and swore it could not happen again, that they would all move on to something far more diverting, the upcoming social season. There would be balls and galas, and Amelia was so ready for something new and different, something other than dark, cold rooms. She needed light and outdoors and the warmth of the sun. She needed laughter and gaiety. She needed attention. She needed life. She was withering away without it. She'd carried her great anticipation into her sister's privy chamber, but her hope had been immediately dashed when she saw who all was gathered. Justine was seated with her hands gripped tightly in her lap. That was a sure sign of her sister's nerves, which, in fairness, had vastly improved since she'd assumed the throne, but which, in fairness, could still bedevil her. Amelia had never suffered from nerves, thank the saints. Boredom was her cross to bear. She was too restless, too full of a compelling need to seek adventure. Everyone talked about Justine's nerves and how crowds distressed her. But no one ever spoke about how distressing it could feel to Amelia when there was very little to do. Behind her sister stood her very handsome husband, the Prince Consort, betrayer of sisters-in-law, William Douglas of Scotland. He winced sympathetically when he looked at her, which Amelia did not take to be the best of signs. "Amelia, darling, what have you done?" That nettled tone belonged to none other than her mother, the Dowager Queen Agnes. She was seated at an easel beside a young man who wore a painter's smock. Her mother was not painting, but she was gesturing at the canvas and speaking quietly to the gentleman about what needed to be added to the scene. It was a peculiar talent of the Dowager Queen, to paint by proxy. If one did not have a talent for art, did one merely commandeer the talent from someone else? Amelia would say no, but no one listened to her. Her mother was glaring at her. Another ill portent. The other person in the room was Dante Robuchau, the Prime Minister. He was standing at the window.